We're gonna preview a big game today, probably one of the biggest of the season so far. Liverpool versus Manchester United. First versus second. Only 3 points separating both teams as the league leaders travel to Anfield to play the champions. Liverpool have had a 9-day break, quite a few days more than Manchester United, so they should be a lot more fresher after a busy festive period. They welcome Manchester United to Anfield, having gone 3 Premier League games without a win for the first time since May 2018. Manchester United, on the other hand, are now unbeaten in 15 Premier League away fixtures, winning 12 of them, with their last defeat on the road coming at Anfield a year ago. On that day, goals from Virgil van Dijk and Mohamed Salah left them 30 points behind Liverpool. It's been quite a turnaround in a year. In fact, the turnaround has happened over the last few weeks only. United were down in 15th place at the start of November when Arsenal won at Old Trafford. Since then, United have picked up 9 wins and 2 draws, and that has pushed the perennial winners back to the top. If we start looking at the key facts before the game, table position wise, it's first versus second, with only 3 points separating both teams. Man United are at 36 points while Liverpool are at 33 points, and they've played the same number of games. In the last 5 games, Manchester United have picked up 13 points with 4 wins and 1 draw, while Liverpool have stuttered quite a bit with only 8 points, which included 2 wins, 2 draws and 1 loss. Both teams have a very similar clean sheet record with 5 clean sheets in the season so far, and even though defensively they've been quite good, they have conceded the odd goal per game. In terms of ball possession, Liverpool enjoy a lot more possession with an average of 64.5% throughout all their games in the Premier League so far, while Manchester United also enjoy the majority share with 53.5%. So it'll be an interesting fixture where both teams will want majority possession of the ball, but looking at the stats, it's gonna be Liverpool that will probably have the lion's share of the possession, with Manchester United trying to play off the ball more often and focusing on the counter-attack. In terms of the chance conversion rate, both teams have converted quite a few chances this season, with the rate slightly over 10%. Now, this is not the best in the league so far. It's Tottenham that's leading the league with the best chance conversion rate, but it's quite good. So when you expect one of the strikers of one of these teams to get a chance, it's highly probable that they will convert it. The team selection is going to be the biggest factor. No dilemma in goal for Liverpool as Alisson will start. However, the big decision will be in defense for manager Jurgen Klopp. Robertson and Alexander-Arnold are fit and will start the game. The only question is who will start in central defense. After injuries to Virgil van Dijk and Joe Gomez, Jurgen Klopp has tried several combinations in central defense, with Fabinho playing there most often, but being partnered by either one of the youngsters in the Liverpool squad or Jordan Henderson, and sometimes even Joel Matip. Matip is expected to be fit for the game, but he will be a gamble since he hasn't played in quite a few weeks. So the real question for Jurgen Klopp is, should Matip and Fabinho start in central defense? The other question is Henderson more valuable in central midfield? And I think he is. And that's where he has been most effective all season as well, with a number of assists and a number of through balls for Mane, Firmino and Salah. So it's quite likely that Jurgen Klopp will pick Matip just because of the presence that's required in central defense alongside Fabinho to make sure that the Manchester United attack is kept under tabs. While Wijnaldum, Henderson and Thiago would start in midfield to make sure that the ball retention and the possession is flowing perfectly. Thiago as well is coming back from a short spell on the sidelines, so So it is possible that Jurgen Klopp may want to keep either James Milner or Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain in the team instead of Thiago, and use Thiago and Jones as fallback options on the bench. In the front three, Jurgen Klopp will have no dilemmas, with Mane, Firmino and Salah being the first choice and the only choices to start. The Liverpool bench is quite strong as well, as you can see, and they will actually rely on quite a few players to come on and make a big impact. Hence, Jurgen Klopp will be very pleased that he has a lot of his players back for this game, since he can have a more stable starting lineup, especially in defense. Manchester United have played with several different formations throughout this season, including a 4-2-3-1, a 4-3-3 and a 4-4-2 diamond. In this game, the focus that Solskjaer will have will be on making sure that Robertson and Alexander-Arnold are not given too many attacking opportunities. At the same time, he would want the midfield three of Liverpool to be well challenged for the ball and effective pressure to be kept in the center of midfield. In contrast, whenever Robertson and Alexander-Arnold do attack, he would want to have enough presence up top to make sure that a counter-attack is always possible. And that's the reason why he would probably go with a 4-4-2. David De Gea will be the first choice in goal, while the back four will be kept consistent as previous games with Shaw, Maguire, Bailly and Wan-Bissaka. Victor Lindelof is expected to be available, but the odds are that Maguire-Bailly combination that has worked so well in the previous games is relied upon once again, and a risk is not taken with Lindelof. Now the central midfield area is where Solskjaer will have the biggest decision to make. Pogba is in good form, and Fred and McTominay have also been very reliable this season. Matic has been the rock that's protected the back four. However, Matic may not be able to necessarily keep up with a fast-paced game, something that Liverpool like to do. Hence, I think Solskjaer would rely more on Pogba, Fred and McTominay to make sure that the central part of midfield is covered, and essentially they have a 3 versus 3 in central midfield. And this will also give Fernandes a bit of freedom to operate slightly behind the strikers. In attack, we can expect Rashford and Martial to play slightly more centrally when they're attacking and defend much wider when they're defending. So essentially, the formation would become a 4-3-3 during defense and a 4-4-2 during attack. Manchester United also have a very strong bench with Greenwood, Van der Beek, Matic and Mata available if required. So the last game between the two sides ended in a Liverpool 2-0 victory back in January 2020, with Van Dijk and Mohamed Salah scoring the goals. As I mentioned before, in this game we expect Liverpool to play their regular 4-3-3 and Manchester United to go with a 4-4-2 diamond formation. This will create some interesting battles across the pitch. In the central part of midfield, there will probably be a 3 versus 3 scenario with Wijnaldum, Henderson and Thiago up against Pogba, Fred and McTominay. And this is why the 4-4-2 diamond will work quite well for Manchester United against Liverpool, as it has against top teams in the past. Henderson will also have to keep tabs on Fernandes, so the Fernandes-Henderson battle is going to be quite an important one as well. It'll be interesting to see how much freedom Fernandes gets and how important a role he plays behind the Manchester United attack. With every fast-paced team, there's always going to be a really interesting battle between the forward line and the defensive line. And in this case, the Mane-Bailly battle would be quite interesting, with Mane looking to come inside into the central part of the field and uses the right foot as much as possible. And we know that Bailly has been in excellent form this season, especially in the last few games. On the flanks, Robertson will look to go forward as much as possible, as the left back leads the English Premier League in number of assists this season with 5. This is where Wan-Bissaka will have a big challenge. Wan-Bissaka likes to go forward as well, so the Liverpool left back and the Manchester United right back will have a very interesting tussle. And this is where it'll be interesting to see how the Robertson-Mane combination on the left versus the Wan-Bissaka-McTominay combination on the right plays out. And on the Manchester United attack front, Rashford will look to make runs against Fabinho and Matip. Fabinho is used to playing in central midfield a lot more, and he's more of an old school midfielder. So he's slightly slower than Rashford, obviously. So we can expect Liverpool to not play a high line and actually play a much lower defensive line, with Fabinho and Matip dropping back quite a bit, so that Martial and Rashford have to run to them rather than make runs behind them. This is going to create a very interesting dynamic, as it will give Fernandes a lot more space to operate between the Liverpool defensive line and the midfield line. And at the same time, like I said, Alexander-Arnold and Robertson will be bombing up and down the flanks, which could create a lot of gaps for Martial and Rashford to exploit. Overall, given the fast-paced nature of Liverpool's game and the way they are set up, it will be very difficult for Manchester United to break them down, and you could expect that this could be a very close game as well, with Manchester United being very happy with a point out of the game. If it does end up in a draw, Manchester United will remain 3 points ahead of Liverpool and stay top of the league, which wouldn't be a bad outcome from a game with their bitter rivals at such a stage in the league. And it'll be very interesting to see the decisions that Jurgen Klopp makes in his defense and the decision that Solskjaer makes with his overall formation, and whether he goes with a 4-4-2 or a 4-2-3-1. Thanks for watching.